So, in light of Laura Loomer's unbelievably unhinged and racist tweets on the internet, she has now been, I guess, banned from being seen in Trump's entourage. She can no longer be on the plane, blah, blah, blah. And JD Vance was on MSNBC complaining about grocery prices yet again because apparently Kamala has a grocery button. She plays, apparently being vice president is like it's like Victoria 3. You can manipulate the price of goods with just buttons, according to Vance. So he's confronted about Laura Loomer's racist anti-brown rhetoric on Twitter, where she talks about how the White House will smell like curry and White House staff will be engaging in customer service phone calls where nobody will be able to understand what people are saying. All of that, right? That's what she's saying. JD Vance's wife is Indian. His kids are half Indian, don't look white at all. And this dude literally has an opportunity to condemn racism that literally affects his own family and decides to enjoy and engage in said racism in real time.
Now, you asked about Laura Loomer. Look, Laura Loomer is not affiliated with the Trump campaign. She said something about curry in the White House that I first read about this morning, actually, because I knew that you would ask me about it. Look, Kristen, I make a mean chicken curry. I don't think that it's insulting.
I don't believe he can cook. Let me just clarify. I do not believe JD Vance can cook. I don't believe Donald Trump can fold clothes. I don't believe JD Vance can cook. If y'all believe that, you can believe that. That's fine. Furthermore, his assertion that Laura Loomer is not involved in the Trump campaign, lie. Laura Loomer is constantly seen hanging around Donald Trump all the time. Let me guess, they play chess together or something? Do you believe that? Y'all seen those pictures of Laura Loomer all booed up with Trump? This chick was in his entourage, flying around with him. She came to Atlanta for the debates. Laura Loomer's been in his entourage for months. Why are we... This is what they do. Instead of just saying, you know, we didn't know she was this crazy. We're so sorry. She's no longer around. Instead of pretending to possess a modicum of decency, they simply just say, no, she was never a part of the team. We don't know what you're talking about. They're lunatics. They're crazy. They're insane. And they can't be reasoned with. They're liars.
Insulting for anybody to talk about their dietary preferences or what they want to do in the White House. I think what Laura said about Kamala Harris is not what we should be focused on. We should be focused on the policy and on the issues. And look, so yeah, do I agree with what Laura Loomer said about Kamala Harris? No, I don't. I also don't think that this is actually an issue of national import. Is Laura Loomer running for president? No. Kamala Harris is running for president. And whether you're eating curry at your dinner table or fried chicken, things have gotten more expensive thanks to her policies. Let's talk about the person running for president of the United States, not a social media personality who supports Donald Trump.
Senator, were you and your wife offended? And do you disavow those?
Just to clarify, this dude literally just proved his own statement wrong within seconds. He sits there and says, this is not an issue of national importance to the people of the United States. You are running for vice president. And within seconds of saying, I don't agree with what Laura Loomer said, you then proceed to say something unbelievably disrespectful and racist seconds later. Clearly, her rhetoric has emboldened you to act a damn fool on national television on NBC. By the way, this is exactly why Trump's rhetoric is a problem, because it becomes a domino effect. Trump emboldens white nationalists. White nationalists embolden Laura Loomer, who's Jewish, by the way. She seems to think she's a part of the club. If she could just like cut her nose and have a doctor just shape it all straight, all of a sudden she's no longer, we know you're Jewish. She then emboldens JD Vance. This is literally, it's a disease. It just spreads. He proved himself wrong. Whether you're eating curry or fried chicken, you know how crazy that sounds? Kamala Harris is half black, half Indian. That it sounds like a jab at Kamala. Now, Kamala is Jamaican. I know Jamaicans do eat fried chicken, but not as much as Black Americans. But to those who don't know she's Jamaican, who only know she's black, it can be seen as an attack on her biracial heritage. JD Vance is completely unaware of this. Well, he probably does know. Let me not say he's unaware. This man has been emboldened to say foolishness like this by people like Donald Trump and his new little boo thing, Laura Loomer. And this reporter, instead of saying, Mr. Vance, what did you mean by curry and fried chicken? She should have went harder. Unfortunately, she didn't go hard enough. But let's see what he says about the question of whether he and his wife were offended by Laura Loomer's comments.
And do you disavow those comments?
Who supports Donald Trump.
Senator, were you and your wife offended? And do you disavow those comments that even some Trump allies say are blatantly racist?
Kristen, I just told you I don't like those comments, and I think that we ought to be focused on Kamala Harris's policy failures. I also don't look at the internet for every single thing to get offended by. I'm running for vice president because I think Kamala Harris has been a disaster, and we have to undo her policies. That's what we should be focused on. But by the way, when I say we, I mean the American media. Kamala Harris opened the border. She made food unaffordable. We should be talking about her failure as an American leader, not a social media personality who supports Donald Trump.
It's desperation. It's desperation. He knows it's wrong. He knows it's ugly. And the reason why he's so desperate to pretend like it's not that big of a deal is because Laura Loomer is connected to MAGA. If Laura Loomer was never connected to MAGA, the conversation wouldn't be taking place. But there are pictures of Laura Loomer completely all just like wedding pictured up with Donald Trump, chest on it, so all of that. We've seen it. He knows it. I know it. Everyone knows it. The reality is Laura Loomer was way too close to Trump, way too close to his family, way too close to his campaign, and it was in his direct entourage. Everyone's aware of this. J.D. Vance himself is aware of this. J.D. Vance's wife is Indian. His kids are mixed. This man had an opportunity to defend the heritage and the place of his family in this country. Because to sit there and say, oh, the White House is going to smell like curry, it's going to sound like fucking customer service calls. What Laura Loomer is trying to say is Kamala Harris's background makes her unqualified to be president because we don't want people of that ethnic background in office. That's effectively, literally what she said without directly saying it. Instead of reading between the lines and being honest, J.D. Vance reads between the lines, realizes how bad it makes Trump look if he acknowledges how bad it was, and also knows his base might be upset if he acknowledges how bad it was. He just lies. He just says, oh, well, you know, she's not a part of the campaign and she's not running for president, so it doesn't matter, because now apparently the people a president associates with no longer matters. When Barack Obama was attending that church in which the dude was saying, God damn America, that I guess doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter who a presidential candidate associates with ever. Never matters. This is the same Laura Loomer, by the way, who spread a conspiracy theory so stupid Nick Fuentes was arguing with his own fan base about it on his show. She was the one, remember when they were saying, where's Joe? Where's Joe? Where's Joe Biden? Where's Joe? Because they were panicking about Kamala taking over. Laura Loomer was the source of that. She went on Twitter and said Biden was dead. Not because he died, but because for 2 days he wasn't seen. And it's not that he was seen without explanation. Joe Biden made it abundantly clear on Twitter, guys, I've got COVID. Joe Biden's 80-something years old. He can't be around y'all dirty-ass little miscreants. He's 80-something. He touches one of y'all, he might die. So she sits there and pretends like Joe Biden's a YouTuber. He's been missing for 2 days. What could possibly be going on? Instead of he's 80-something, he could die if he catches more than one illness while having COVID. He needs to be as far away from common people as much as possible. Laura Loomer does all of that math and it equals up to Joe Biden's dead. She then fans the flames of there being a medical emergency on Air Force One because apparently she has an insider in the Biden administration. She says he's dead, and then magically, somehow Biden's alive at the end of the week to issue his speech about why he's dropping out. This is all the machinations of Laura Loomer. Saying Biden's dead, saying he's, stanky legging to death on the fucking, on Air Force One. Like, it's all her conspiracy theories, by the way. She's the one doing this. No one else but her. But lying about Biden in unbelievably disparaging ways is literally just MAGA tradition. Donald Trump literally accused Joe Biden of trying to send goons to kill him at Mar-a-Lago. Like, this is a recurring theme with these people. It's not new. J.D. Vance had an opportunity to defend his wife from anti-brown racism from an open associate of MAGA, and instead of defending his wife and people like her in this country, he actually joins in and says, whether you're cooking curry or fried chicken, it doesn't really matter what Laura Loomer said because the price of both things have gone up. because apparently, again, Kamala Harris is playing Victoria 3 with our country and is just driving up the prices because she's pressing the wrong buttons. This is the guy who wants to be VP, a man who can't even defend Indians from racism. He wants to be VP, and this is also why I don't want Vivek Ramaswamy in office, because he's not capable of standing up to racism. He can't do it. The only racism he seems to care about is anti-white racism. And look, I'm against all racism, okay? But, you know, Vivek, you know, characters like Vance, these people are incapable of doing the right thing when called upon. Completely incapable. Laura Loomer should have never been in the MAGA camp. She should have always been kept away. But when you invite that level of crazy around you, it never ends well. I wouldn't be surprised if she becomes too much of a problem. Trump tries to get rid of her, and she starts spilling the beans. They should have never associated with someone like her. Now the candidate for VP for the Republican Party is incapable of condemning anti-brown racism, and in an amazing plot twist, actually joins the party. You can't make this shit. I don't know who's writing the story of Earth and America right now, but great job, by the way. Amazing job. The storyline is looking super good. So, again, like, I don't know what's going on with MAGA. Every day, the bar sinks lower and lower into hell. At this point, Satan is wondering what's going on. He can't even believe how low the bar sunk. So, it is what it is. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.